You matter. You have a voice, a story. All you want is to know and be known. Deep down inside, that's the heart's cry of every human being. I look like a normal girl. You wouldn't know my story just by looking at me. Drug addict by the age of 15, a depressed, broken, and abused girl who didn't see a point in living. The fact that I'm alive today is a miracle in itself. I didn't have the strength to change, but something much greater than myself found me, changed me, and gave me the strength that I needed to live. No matter who you are, what you believe in, or how big of a miracle you need, there's a place for you here in Santa Maria. Meet Rick and Lori Taylor, the directors of the Healing Rooms here in California and divisional directors over Northern America, USA, and Canada.
Well, a miracle is something that that doctors can't do, that science can't do, but God does. For example, somebody born blind, a doctor really can't heal them, but when we minister to somebody and God opens blind eyes, that's a miracle. Or somebody who is crippled in a wheelchair and the doctors have done all they can do, and they say there's no way you're going to walk again, and they get ministered to, and the power of God hits them, and they're completely healed. That's a miracle. See, a miracle is an instant healing, and healing is progressive. We can minister to somebody, and we can see them healed over hours, over a period of days, weeks, or months, and then they're healed.
And I think, well, we started this ministry 15 years ago, and the first month we were open, I didn't believe as much as I do now. And this lady came in for prayer, and she had breast cancer. And at that time I was thinking, oh no, that just seems so big, like this isn't gonna happen. And so Rick and I actually prayed for her, and then she went to the doctor, found out there was no cancer left, came back and told us, and I was shocked at first. Like, oh my gosh. And then, but now we've just seen so much cancer and everything healed that, yeah.
The problem is often we give up. You know, the Bible said, Jesus himself said, keep on asking, keep on seeking, and keep on knocking. Like I said, miracles are instant. Healing is a progression. And so often we give up too early. But if you press in and we tell people, keep coming back until you get your breakthrough. A lot of people come to get a little bit better, and we say, that's not good enough. Keep coming back. We'll keep fighting with you until this thing is complete. And as people come back, you know, what we've also discovered, and science is also talks about this, but a lot of our emotional things cause our physical. And if we don't take care of the emotional things, we can't get healed physically. And so in the healing rooms, we don't just focus just on the symptom, but the root cause. Why does this person have this in the first place? You know, and a lot of times with people with arthritis, they have bitterness and unforgiveness, and so what we do in that process, we're dealing with those things, and as God comes and heals them of bitterness, and they release forgiveness, and God heals their soul. And so what we're doing in the healing room, see, God is thorough. He heals the whole man. He heals our emotions, He heals our spirits and our physical body, and it's all tied together. And if we're not willing to deal with the issues, that the root causes, we can't. It prevents us from being healed physically. So it's all tied together. And I believe that's why some people aren't healed, is because they're not willing to deal with the root cause. You know, healing rooms is not a new concept. About 95 years ago, there was a man named John G. Lake who was an apostle, evangelist sent to South Africa, where he started about 500 churches, and he had a gift of healing and miracles. And there's books written on him. There's recorded evidence of the things that he saw and did in his ministry. After his time was over there, he came back to America, back to Spokane, Washington, to retire, so to speak. But he saw the problem in America was just as bad, that people needed healing, they needed miracles. And so what he did back then, 95 years ago, he took ordinary believers, ordinary Christians, and trained them how to pray effectively for those who need healing and miracles. And he started what he called the healing rooms 95 years ago in Spokane, Washington. And at that time, there were over 100,000 documented miracles that took place in the city of Spokane. It actually shut down hospitals. And Washington, D.C. Declared Spokane, Washington, the healthiest city, not only in America, but in the world, because of the healing rooms that were there. And John Lake, back then, the Lord told him that one day there will be healing rooms all over the world. He never saw it in his time. He passed away before he saw this fulfilled. But 16 years ago, a man named Cal Pierce, who was a part of the Bethel Church in Redding, got a vision from the Lord and to restart and reopen the healing rooms. And he did. He went back to Spokane, to the same location where John Lake had his healing rooms, and he reopened them. And again, God started doing miracles and healing. And we heard about it, and we were invited to go up and check it out, and we did. And we spent a week with them in Spokane, caught the vision, and we came to California and we started another healing room. And now we're in 74 nations, healing rooms are in 74 nations. It literally spread all over the world. And so John Lake's vision is coming to pass now. And the testimonies get out. When the testimonies get out, people come from a long distance, even other nations. We have, almost every day that we're open, we have people come from Los Angeles, San Francisco, from Fresno. They're coming from all over. We even had 2 doctors themselves with stage 4 cancer come to our healing rooms, and we're both healed. That's impossible in the natural, but that's a miracle. See, all things are possible with the Lord.
Meet my friend Eli. By looking at her, you can guess that she has an interesting story. Let's hear what she has to say.
I was an addict at a very early age. Heroin, meth, like mostly heroin, but I did any drug. I lost my mom and my best friend in the same year. In the first year of being homeless as a teen, I started prostituting, and then by the time I was 18, I had gotten in the mix with a gang in LA. I lived in LA, and I didn't have anybody, and they took me in as family. It still really blows my mind how brainwashed I was. So for 11 years, I ran hard for my family. I was at the end of my rope, June 2012, and I had been diagnosed with AIDS in 2006. I had endocarditis. It's shooting drugs, and it had eaten up my heart valves, so I had 2 bad heart valves. I ended up in my storage unit with a loaded Glock 40, a tiny stack of goodbye letters. And as I lowered the gun, the next thought was, if you're gonna do this, you should do this right, and you should go to the Central Coast, see your brother and his kids, and have closure. And I remember I shot up a prayer to God, and it wasn't like, poor me, it wasn't any of that. Like, in my mind, I had convinced myself that I needed to kill myself because I was no longer worth anything in society. If anything, I was doing God a favor. And so that was really what I believed. And I said, look, like, if you don't want me to kill myself, like, you have to do something big. Like, you have to. All of a sudden, I'm like being ushered in this rehab, and I'm like, this is crazy. And I kick heroin, and they almost have to kick me out. Like, I'm completely out of control. Like, I'm threatening to kill people over like spilled punch. Like, I was totally not like adapted to society. I was like a wild animal, and so they conjure up this idea, let's take all the girls to the healing rooms. So as Pastor Rick was saying, as he was preaching at the end of worship, he said, as he went to go preach, like, I remember to this day, it was like something stopped him, and he was like overcome, and he said, wow, somebody here has been in such a dark place. And he kept trying to continue what he was like had planned to say or whatever, but he was moved by God, I know today, and he just went, wow, so dark. And he was like, God is healing you now. He's like, I promise, like, just hold on. And I knew he was talking about me, and I got prayer, I got saved. I was just so desperate, like I couldn't believe that I felt God. Like a month later, they talked me into going to the doctor. I did, and the first, I had gotten a general checkup. The same doctor was checking my heart, and he started freaking out, and I'm like, what's wrong, you know? And he's like, your valves are clear and your murmur's gone, you know? And he actually shut all the doors, and everyone was like, what do you mean? So I got blood labs, I got another echocardiogram, and my heart is like brand new. Like to this day, like nobody can explain it other than it's God. And then it took a while to process. I'm like, what do you mean? Like my heart is, okay, cool, you know? And then my HIV test started coming back negative. Several tests, I didn't believe it. I was like, no, you just take another test. Like obviously like your test is another one, negative. And what's cool about my tests is that it's 0 viral load, but my blood is still loaded with antibodies. So you can't even say, I mean, we got all my old medical records and stuff, but someone can't say, oh, maybe it wasn't you, maybe you never had it. Well, no, dude, like, I have so many antibodies, it almost throws the negative the positive every time I take it, but it's still 0 viral count. So to this day, I'm just continuing to grow in God, and it's just all about love, it's all about hope.
I would be lying if I said that I was never skeptical of miracles. I would also be lying if I said that I deserved a miracle. All I want to do is to give away what I have received. It hurts to know that people are out there suffering, and they don't know that there is hope. It's up to you. You can walk down the path of unbelief and keep on going, or you can walk down the path of curiosity and hope. So it really is up to you. What do you have to lose?
Hold on before I slip away. The flames gone down